How to become an emotional scientist? How are you feeling right now? Can you be sure? It may seem like a ridiculous question. Of course, we all know exactly what we are feeling. I don't think so. It is just a misconception or a misunderstanding that humans have. It may be the only thing about which we can be certain. So, if it's all completely, effortlessly self-evident, why would we need a sense of emotion and emotional intelligence? We speak of emotional skills, but doesn't that mean there is something to be learned or not? Indeed, it does, yes, of course. It's a safe bet that no one in the history of the human race has ever known precisely what she or he is feeling. In all its complexity and contradiction and chaos at all times, our neurons are firing hundreds of times a second, and the less of what goes on up there is pure, rolling emotion. You could be brilliant with an IQ that Einstein would envy, but if you're unable to recognize your emotions and see how they are affecting your behavior, all that cognitive firepower won't do as much good as you may imagine. A gifted child who doesn't have the permission to feel, along with the vocabulary to express those feelings and ability to understand them, won't be able to manage complicated emotions around friendships and academics, limiting his or her potential. Our most important mental functions have an emotional aspect, even if they seem to be purely in the realm of cognition, and those factors determine significant real-life outcomes, our relationships, our performance, our decision-making, even our physical health. Our feelings encourage us to treat the people we care about with the love and respect or disregard their needs and wishes, help us focus on thinking or distract us, fill us with enthusiasm and energy or deplete our will, open us up to outside world or wall us off from it. Feelings motivate us to do things that improve our lives and those of the people around us, but they can also adversely influence our actions without us even realizing it. In fact, that's when we are most vulnerable to emotions' impact, when you fail to detect it. When you are making a decision, there are two kinds of emotions: integral and incidental. Integral emotions are directly caused by an action at hand. We are fearful while climbing a tricky mountain pass. We are joyful as we are falling in love. All completely understandable and connected to the moment. Incidental emotions have nothing to do with what's going on. As we described earlier, we had an argument with our kids, and our lingering feelings of frustration and anger emphasize how we tried to work or interacted with the colleagues at the office. These are the emotions that infiltrate our thinking without us even being aware. Only by becoming an emotion scientist will we learn the skills to use our emotions and wisely, not suppress them or ignore them. In fact, just the opposite. We'll no longer be controlled by feelings we may not even perceive. Anxiety is a signal that we feel something important is beyond our control. Fear or uneasiness can make us risk adverse. It can be a positive thing. It may steer us away from taking foolish chances. But if we are too risk adverse or give up in the face of obstacles too easily, we'll never try anything, thereby guaranteeing failure. That's why we need to understand our emotions, be aware of how they influence our actions, and have strategies to regulate them. Becoming an emotional scientist will help us recognize the physical symptoms that sometimes accompany strong feelings. Suddenly I'm feverish and my heart is racing, or I'm feeling a cold ache in my stomach. All real sensations, sometimes emotional rather than physiological, sometimes not. When these symptoms present themselves, we are obliged to ask, is there an emotion behind this, and what can I do about it? Or am I just dehydrated, or hungry, or tired, and I need to drink, or something, or just go to bed? An emotion scientist have the ability to pursue, even at the most stressful moments, and ask, what am I reacting to? We can learn to identify and understand our feelings, integral or incidental, and then respond in helpful, proportional ways. Once we acquire emotion skills, but what exactly are they? In it, they asserted that the majority of life tasks are influenced by emotion. We all have emotion skills, the authors wrote, but of varying degrees. The ability to receive accurately, accurately and appraise and express emotion. The ability to access and or generate feelings, and then facilitate thought. The ability to understand emotion, emotional knowledge, and the ability to regulate emotion to promote emotional and intellectual growth. That's a fine textbook definition. We should all possess those skills, but it's hard to infer what emotional intelligence looks like in practice from the definition alone. There are individual differences in how we process information or every type. Some of us are naturally better at math than others, while some of us excel in language-based tasks. But we all learn and improve in those areas. Similarly, some of us are more fluent and intuitive than others when it comes to emotional matters. But we can all learn and improve here too. I often ask people to describe an emotionally intelligent person. Try yourself now. What are the skills? Some people say empathy, which allows us to relate to what others are feeling. Empathy is about having shared emotional experiences. Empathy can help you connect with someone, but it won't necessarily help you to support a person in managing his or her difficult emotion or stop you from getting lost in someone else's shoes. That's where emotion skills are coming to play. Neither is what we commonly think of as an emotional stability. We tend to view a calm, poised demeanor as a sign of a superior emotional wisdom. Yes, I want to bet that. Emotional stability. Come and think of an emotional stability. It denotes inner peace and harmony. People who are serene and together may possess a great emotional skills, but the same may be true of those who are conspiracy and neurotic. In fact, sometimes, out of pure necessity, people who are high in neuroticism also demonstrate great emotion skills. They need them in order to regulate their own tumultuous inner lives, but neither stability nor neuroticism equals emotional intelligence. Grit, defined as perseverance and a passion for long-term goals. Resilience also is mentioned as an emotion skill. Resilience, grit, serene, inner peace, harmony. Okay, resilience is also mentioned as an emotion skill. Resilience. According to the American Psychology Association, it is a process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant source of stress such as family relationship problems, serious health problems, or workplace and financial stressors. Has it revealed biological markers that differentiate how sensitive children, before children and old kids, respond to environmental changes and compare with how resilient children, who they call dandelions, react. Dandelion children may thrive in almost any condition, whereas orchid children tend to be more fearful and overwhelmed in uncertain social situations. Dandelion orchid. Whether an orchid or dandelion child does better or worse likely has to do with how families, teachers, and peers support their emotional development. If neglected, orchid children promptly wither, but if they are raised in supportive conditions, they not only survive but flourish compared with the dandelion children. Emotion skills are unlikely to antecedent to building resilience. Finally, emotion skills are not constitutional traits such as confidence or charisma or popularity. It doesn't mean having a good personality, whatever that is. It isn't kindness or warmth or in high self-esteem. It has an optimism. Those may all be desirable qualities that make us appealing to the rest of the world. We may aspire to any or all of the above, but they are not emotion skills. So, what are they? First, emotion skills must be acquired. Nobody is born with them all in place and ready to work. Emotion skills amplify our strengths and help us through challenges. If I am an extrovert and I need to shine, then I must learn to read my environment so I can see when I overwhelm others and I tone myself down. If I am an introvert, my tendency to be quiet and subdued might underwhelm people at home, school, or other workplace, so I need to amp myself up at times so the world can be seen in enthusiasm. I asked my host what the colors meant. She said that green indicated uncomfortable with the receiving a hug, yellow meant ask before hugging, and the red proclaimed to stay away. I had done, which demonstrated the small correlation between emotional intelligence and IQ. A senior professor made a little effort to hide his skepticism, as if the two qualities couldn't coexist. Within one person, there were so many prejudices, weaknesses, and contradictions encoded into the statement. It restores balance to our thought processes. It prevents emotions from having undue influence over our actions, and it helps us to realize that we might be feeling a certain way for a reason. They are known by acronym RULER. The first skill, recognizing the occurrence of an emotion by noticing a change in one's own thoughts, energy, or body in someone else's facial expression, body language, or voice. That's the first clue that something important is happening. The second skill, understanding, which means that we know the cause of emotions and see how they influence our thoughts and decisions. This helps us make better predictions about our own and others' behavior. The third skill, labeling, which refers to making connections between emotional experience and precise terms to describe it. People with a more mature feelings vocabulary can differentiate among related emotions such as pleased, happy, elated, and ecstatic. Labeling emotions accurately increase self-awareness and help us communicate emotions effectively. reducing misunderstanding and social interactions. The fourth skill, expressing, which means knowing how and when to display our emotions, depending on the setting, the people we are with, and a larger context. People who are skilled in his area understand that unspoken rules of emotional expression, also called display rules, often direct the best way to express what they feel and modify their behaviors accordingly. The fifth skill, regulating, which involves monitoring, tempering, and modifying emotional reactions in helpful ways in order to reach personal and professional goals. This doesn't mean ignoring inconvenient emotions. Rather, it's learning to accept and deal with them. People with this skill employ strategies to manage their own emotions and help others with theirs. In the Wheeler framework, the first three skills, recognizing, understanding, and labeling, help us to accurately identify and decode what we and the others are feeling. And the two remaining skills, expressing and regulating, tell us how we can manage those emotions and achieve desired outcomes. Our ultimate goal, your intelligence, quotient IQ, daily life requires emotion skills at every turn yet provides reliable feedback on how well we are doing and if we are improving. We know for a fact that no matter how smart you are, the emotions will have influence, positive or negative, on your rational thought process. That's important. We've already explained the 5 key emotion skills, so let's just try an experiment. A simple self-test you can take the measure your own. You will have to score yourself in from 1, very unskilled, to 5, very skilled, on 5 statements that neededly. So what it takes to be an emotion scientist. I am able to accurately recognize my own and others' emotions. I am aware of the cause and the consequences of my own and others' feelings. I have and refined the emotion vocabulary. I am skilled in expressing a full range of emotions. I am skilled in managing my own emotions and in helping others and manage others. How confident are you and significant of your score? Let's admit the fatal flaw in this test. None of us is completely unbiased when it comes to estimating our own mental skills, emotional and or otherwise. So clearly we incline to overstate our emotion skills. Perhaps unsurprising, male students' estimates of their scores are significantly higher than those of the women, despite the fact the men did worse than the women when we took a performance-based test. Like the one we just took, these are mostly superficial and misleading, often measuring personality traits rather than the emotion skills and reflecting the universe's desire to feel superior to our fellow human beings when it comes to the wisdom of the heart. On the corporate world, emotional intelligence and regularity access and using a 360-degree format for the purposes of promotion or executive coaching. In this case, a person's score is based on his or her own self-report and leads to evaluations and provided by peers, subordinates, and supervisors. These assessments are mostly concerned with self-control, trustworthiness, conscientiousness, adaptability, teamwork ability, the ability to influence others, and inspirational leadership, all potentially important aspects of being a good leader and manager. The general consensus among researchers is that these tools measure perceived traits, competences, and aspects of one's reputation, but not emotion skills. For the reasons stated above, there is a general agreement in psychology that performance tests, as opposed to self-report skills, are not a gold standard because they measure actual capacity for mental tasks. The test has been an important tool for research purposes, but even the most sophisticated tests can predict how someone would respond in real-life situations where emotion skills are required. The real test of emotion skills isn't while reading on a beach, isn't when someone kisses a sand in your face. There's another reason why defining emotional intelligence is so elusive: the lack of a clear terminology. Most of us use words such as emotion and feelings more or less interchangeably without a general understanding of what they mean, but there are some subtle and important distinctions too. Let's go through the glossary. An emotion, happy, sad, angry, arises from appraisal under internal and external stimulus. By appraisal, I mean of interpretation of what is happening in the world or my mind through the lens of my present goals and concerns. We hear, see, feel through touch, taste, or smell something that alerts us to a shift in the environment. We are provoked by a memory of or sensation or an event, something someone says or does, or something we witness or experience. I think about someone who treated me unfairly, or someone actually treats me unfairly, and I feel angry. Emotions are mostly short-lived. If you have felt surprised for an hour, they usually include a physiological reaction such as bullish chills or an increased heart rate, and a release of a neurochemical to prepare for your action. They are often expressed automatically in our facial expressions, body language, and other nonverbal cues. Emotions are also accompanied by subjective experience in our conscious minds. When we feel happy, we have positive thoughts. Being upset turns into a pessimist. Finally, emotions can mobilize us into action, to approach or avoid, fight or flee. The classical view of emotions was that they were evolutionary adaptations, and that people across all cultures experienced and displayed the same basic emotions in some ways. For example, we developed the feeling of fear because it was advantageous to our survival, and we all express it in the same way because it's a part of our biological nature. Today, our understanding has become more nuanced. Recent research emphasizes that emotions are fully intertwined not only with our biology, but also with an individual life experience and culture. We don't all fear the same things, and we don't all express joy in the same ways. When school children in the United States are asked to draw a happy face in sports and huge smile, when Asian children are given the same task, the smiles are smaller. This doesn't mean they're less happy than their American counterparts, only that perhaps they experience and express their happiness differently. As we mature, our emotional repertoire becomes more precise, one hopes. Preschools have one word for angry, mad, although children in schools where we work learn to make and fine distinctions using concepts such as annoyed, aggravated, irritated, livid, and enraged. A feeling is an internal response to an emotion. I'm angry about something that's happening between us. It's caused me to give up hope, and I can't keep going this way. That's not a feeling. It's nuanced, subtle, multidimensional. When you ask someone how they're feeling, the answer is sometimes an emotion, such as happy, sad, afraid, angry. But they may also say they are feeling supported, connected, valued, respected, and appreciated. These words do not refer to emotions per se, but the motivational and the relationship states that are stopped in an emotion. Technically, an athlete doesn't feel motivated to learn a marathon. It's the athlete's current and anticipated feelings of joy and the pride that motivate him or her to learn each day in order to participate in the marathon. We often have more than one emotion at the same time. Oh, I'm excited about my new job. I'm anxious over whether I can handle it. I'm angry at how you treated me, and I'm superior because I never treated you so badly. Here's the one I know all too well. We can't even have emotions about emotions. We call them meta-emotions. I could be afraid of public speaking and embarrassed about being afraid, or being bullied, so I feel victimized, and I'm ashamed of myself for allowing that to happen. A mood is more diffused and less intense than an emotion or a feeling, but no longer lasting. Most typically, we don't quite know why we are feeling the way we are during a mood, but we are very certain when feelings and emotion. Moods also can be aftermaths of an emotion. Have you ever been annoyed at someone, couldn't stop thinking about it, and then ended up in a bad mood? Often it doesn't feel as though annoying caused it. It's just a state of being, but one that's completely tied with our emotional response to life. Mood disorder isn't a common term nowadays, describing a psychiatric conditions such as depression, bipolarity, or anxiety disorder. These all impair everyday functioning. They are the extreme of how mood affects our lives. In addition to emotions and feelings and moods, there are emotions related to personality traits. This feels like who we are at our core, our predisposition to feel, think, and act in a particular way. We are optimists and pessimists. We are take charges and fatalities. We are introverts and extroverts. We are calm or hyper. To be sure, personality traits can change over time, but when they do, it happens gradually. This means we need to patience with kids who are growing into themselves. But for the most part, traits are constants, which can have influence over how we feel, but should not be confused with feelings. People who are more optimistic tend to experience greater positive emotions, but they also not overestimate other people's positive emotions. On the road of becoming emotion scientists, we need to avoid any temptation to act as emotion judges. In both cases, we are attempting to recognize emotions and their source, and then foresee how they might be influencing our thoughts and actions. But our emotion scientists seek to understand, without making valid judgments or venturing opinions about whether feelings are just right or not, beneficial or not, are reflecting an objective reality. Okay.